Okay, this is a review in preparation for the Chapter 25 test on platyhelminthes and nematoda. Now, I'm going to spend just a few minutes going over the 35 questions that you have that you'll be working on tonight that will be for the test tomorrow. So, bear with me. I'll try to take through those questions one at a time and explain the answers so that you'll have some idea what you're talking about. Now, in this chapter, we're talking about two phyla of worms. It says the first one, tapeworms, belong to which class? They belong to the phylum. Okay, that's all right. Okay, this is a brief review of Chapter 25, dealing with platyhelminthes and nematoda. Now, in this chapter, this is preparation for the test coming up on Friday. I'm going to cover these 35 questions that I gave you today on Thursday. We'll go over those questions, make sure you understand the answers to them. And this is the question from which I'll use to make the test out for tomorrow's test. So if you can answer all these questions and explain all these, there shouldn't be any problem. Okay, you should do well on the test. First question talks about the tapeworm and which class it belongs to. Now let's back up and talk about the phylum first of all. The tapeworm belongs to the phylum Platyhelminthes, which is the flatworm phylum. Remember, platy. In that phylum, there are three classes. The class Turbellaria, which is the planaria worm, the class Cestoda, which is the tapeworm, and then the class Trematoda, which are the flukes. I told you to write those down on your paper somewhere. You'll be able to see that. The phylum Platyhelminthes and three classes below it. You should have Turbellaria, Trematoda, and Cestoda. There's three classes. So when you read the questions, make sure, is it asking for phylum or is it asking for class? Don't let that confuse you. That says relative to body cavity, how are the Platyhelminthes different from the nematoda? Just remember, we have two kinds of body cavities. When we say body cavity, we're talking about the coelom. It's either acoelomate, which means they don't have one. Okay, that's the Platyhelminthes. I told you they're too flat to have a body cavity. We don't get a body cavity until our body becomes round. Then we get a pseudocoelom. The nematodes have a pseudocoelom, which is round. A pseudocoelom is a body cavity arising between mesoderm on the outside and endoderm on the inside. That's a false body cavity. That's in nematodes. We haven't gotten to the true coeloms yet. That's next chapter. So in Platyhelminthes, acoelomates. Nematodes, pseudocoelomates. Okay? Now, the next one is cephalization. Remember, cephala means head, so we have a collection of nerve endings at the anterior or head region of the body. That's all cephalization is. We see this in the planaria worm. We see it in the nematodes also. That's a collection of nerves. Now, in those two animals, we also see the formation of nerves that run down the side of the body, or lateral nerves down the side of the body. So that's the indication of the first nervous system. The cephalization and nerve cords running anterior to posterior. And that's question number 4. It says describe the planaria worm nervous system. That describes it. Cephalization or collecting the nerves at the anterior end with the nerve cords running from dorsal or laterally from anterior to posterior. Okay? Now, what structure in the planaria worm is analogous to the human kidney? Make sure you understand the term analogous and homologous first of all. Analogous means they perform the same function, but structurally they're different. Okay, so that's the flame cell. Functionally, they do the same thing. They filter metabolic waste from the flame cell, removes it from the planaria worm. Your kidney removes metabolic waste from your body. So that's analogous. If it were homologous, they would be structurally similar but do different things, like your arm and a whale's flipper. They're homologous. Okay? All right. Planarians eat by that tube that comes out of the bottom of the ventral side of the body, the pharynx. They eat detritus in through that tube. They absorb the nutrients from the detritus and eliminate the waste back out that same tube. So that's two-way traffic digestion. Okay, one-way traffic is the nematode. Food comes in one opening and waste goes out the other opening. Okay, so they have a tube. Food comes in, waste goes out. That's one-way traffic digestion. That's a nematode. That makes them more advanced. It says those two ways, the platyhelminthes are more advanced than the cnidarians. The cnidarians, that was the jellyfish, okay? The jellyfish didn't have systems. They had tissue. They didn't have systems. Platyhelminthes and nematodes, they have true systems. We didn't see cephalization in the jellyfish. We see cephalization here. So those are all ways that we're seeing more advanced animals, both the platyhelminthes and nematoda, more advanced than cnidarians. Question 8 talks about analogous. I've already explained that to you. Analogous. Okay, question 9 is ganglion, and how does it affect nerve impulses? Let me back up and repeat this one time. That nerve impulses are electrical impulses traveling down the nerve. Occasionally we have a bundle of nerves that help boost it along. That little bundle is called a ganglion. And just kind of helps boost nerves impulses along that nerve channel. Okay? All right, I'm going to pause this one and pick up another video in just a second. Okay?